Banks favor payslips over annual financial statements. That means people who are running businesses, they struggle with getting funding at times because of the space they are in. Businesses are riskier than employees, because if you have a salary, you get a missed opportunity when you don't go to the bank and say, bank, I want to invest in that asset and I don't have the money, but if you give me this money now, in 20 years time I would actually have paid you off on that, and I would actually own the value of that asset.
Sure.
It's not about how much you make, but it's about what you do with how much you make. Because if you can manage your money and you know how to grow your credit score, you don't have to actually earn $1 million.
Welcome back.
Thanks, Jens.
Sure.
It's my pleasure to be back.
No, it's a pleasure to have you back
Infinity time.
for the infinity time.
Yeah, there we go.
The first question is, why do banks love property?
Why do banks love property? So let me start by saying they would love property first because it's an asset-based kind of lending. All right? So I'm going to break that down. There's a certain level of safety for their business. Because remember, banks are trying, they're not really trying to avoid risk, but they charge for risk. Right? So depending on the type of financing you're getting, they would attach risk differently from each of those. Let me give you an example. If you go to the bank and you ask them for a bond, right?
Yeah.
A bond is a secured loan. Secured loan in that the money they're giving you is backed by the asset you are buying.
Okay.
So should at some point, because of the fact that they're able to give you the money now, it's because they've checked your affordability and they can see right now you can actually pay the monthly installment, right? But then should you hit a snag in your life whilst repaying them and you can't pay them anymore, they can go and get your house, sell it, and recover their money. So there's a certain level of safety there, all right?
Okay.
Which is different when you're going there to get a loan.
A loan.
A
Okay.
personal loan, right?
Okay.
A personal loan is based on your records, your affordability. There's nothing that actually secures the bank's ability to recover
Back
the money should you hit a snag.
Okay.
There they have to try and look at other things.
Yeah.
Where you're working, they must charge you now a high interest rate so as to make up for the risk attached to the type of funding that you're getting.
Okay. How can people use the bank's money to grow their property investments? Yeah.
So if you're buying the house to stay in it, you can buy it cash. However, I still recommend the bank's money because of this liquidity that you get. Liquidity is actually you having money always or most of the time, right? Because if you take the money that you have and you go and you buy that house, you lose that access to that money.
Sure.
And you actually now have to go and make money somewhere else, whilst you could actually use the bank's money, keep your money, so that you can fund other things in the process, right? Then if you choose, because this is also another thing people do, it's still for personal use. If you choose to buy your mother a house using the bank's money, my friend, you are tying yourself up again for another 20 to 30 years. Yes, it's an honorable thing that you're doing to actually honor your mother if ever you feel. Again, I don't want to touch, because once we touch on that, that's another thing, another topic I think we as black people need to talk about as well. But if you choose to buy either your mother or your family a house, now, if you add that on top of the house that you're living in and you are repaying the bank for the house you're living in, you are eating up on your cash flow on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
Because now you have more than one installment for something that is not going to give you back anything. Sorry, except for use, right? There I would say if you can pay one up and then take the bank's money on another one. because if otherwise you're going to struggle at some point. Because remember, it's not only the bank repayment, you're paying rates, you're paying rates and taxes, you're paying levies, you're going to have to take care of your mother's garden and all of those other things. And you also do the same on your side. So if ever you're going to want to give your mother a similar experience of the life you're living, so you might buy her a house that's close to the house that you're living in, it's going to cost you.
How low can I stoop in order to start the investment?
How low can you stoop in order to start the investment? Is stooping on what first? Because
The amount.
oh, well, no. I mean, houses right now starts as low as some people are selling even RDP houses now, right? And it's another interesting aspect. But people do sell RDP houses. You can go probably 50,000 or whatever the case is. Then, if you spread that over 20 years, it's a very trivial amount. But then again, you must look at, is the bank interested, or do they have an appetite to fund that kind of property in the area in which it is in? So you can start as low depending in what you are trying to achieve, and also whether you will be able to access the bank to actually fund you on that.
Can I lie to the bank? Say I'm saying I will invest in a commercial property and then take that money and go to RDP.
I think from there, I wouldn't encourage you to start lying at all. In this journey, the one thing you must know, there's a lot of legality. So there's a whole lot of hoops. You'll have legal people, you have lawyers, you have everything is checked. So if you're going to lie, you can actually just find another way of actually funding. For example, if ever you have more than one property, as I would do, if you have more than one property, you can look at whether there is equity on another one. Equity, remember, we've spoken about it. It's when your liability is less than the value of the house, right? You can go to the bank and ask them to fund that difference. Then you take that money from that house. You can then go and pay for whatever other house you want to buy. But you will actually have cash for that.
Okay.
So you suggested that your cash flow, you shouldn't buy a house using your cash.
Yeah.
Right. So in the meantime, you can borrow money from the bank and then you pay off the monthly installments via your salary, let's say. So what would you advise people do with the cash that they already have, that they could have bought the house with?
Sure. That's a good one, yeah. So firstly, you want to take care of things that are taking away from your month-to-month cash flow. Let's just say, this is a similar scenario I give people who are refinancing, right? That I would give to people who have the cash to buy a house and they don't buy the house. Because firstly, if you only have the money to buy the house, you will need money from somewhere else to buy the furniture, fix the house up if ever there's anything or whatever. I then say, take the bank's money. You can put a deposit on that, right? It reduces your month-to-month repayment. Pay everything that is a short-term debt. Pay your accounts, pay the car, pay whatever that you actually have to pay that would actually need you to maintain or sustain that liability on a month-to-month, right? It reduces how much you're going to have to pay out on a monthly basis. Now, you only have the house to look at, and it actually will be a reduced amount because you would have actually put a deposit on that. Now, whatever is left, you actually look at a high-yielding investment option that you have. So you look at, where can I put this money where it will grow faster than in real estate? Because remember, real estate is a staggered kind of growth depending on where you're at. So there are other options where you can actually get growth that's greater than that of property.
How can people strategically pay off their property debt from the bank?
Strategically. Now, again, that's a very subjective question, because when you're saying strategically, it depends again. So you'll always get, my answers are always going to say it depends. Now, if do you have an intent to finish your debt before the 20 years, or you are actually, because of when we're saying strategically, we need to find out what are you planning to achieve.
Let's say 5 years.
You want to pay it in 5 years. Now, again, I'm going to go back to your intent. But if it's the house you're staying in, that's fine. You can actually do that. Now, number one, I want to ask, because of you definitely gonna have to pay more. Because of in order for you to pay any house before time, you're gonna have to pay more. Now we ask you a question: do you have access to extra cash for you to actually pay that off in 5 years? Number two, did you compare the exercise of paying this house quicker to another investment option that could actually end up with better results than you paying this house quicker? Because of if you pay the house quicker so that you don't have a monthly repayment, I'm questioning your reasoning, right? Because of if that's the only thing, you just don't want to be boggled down with debt. Well, there are a lot of things you're not going to get to do in this life because of a whole lot of financial savvy ways of becoming wealthy involve debt.
Sure.
So you need to know what is the best way to deal with debt. What kind of debt is good debt? Because of when you actually, for example, I've given you property debt or a bond, for example, is the cheapest debt you can get in the bank. Now, that means you can get that money cheaper than anything else. Now, if you want to have a property and a house, property and a house, property and a car, and you're getting money from the bank, the debt that's going to be attached to the car most of the time is going to be higher in terms of interest than the house.
Why is that the case?
Because of the car most of the time is depreciating.
Okay.
It is a secured kind of loan because of there's an asset involved, but then that asset's value is going down.
Okay.
So there could come a time in your repayment of your car where the car is worth way less than the debt you owe the bank. Now that means even if you get in trouble, the bank will never recover their full amount when they actually get to take that asset from you. So it actually then poses a risk to the bank. Do you get my point? Now, that's why then I'm saying now you have to look at what makes me want to pay this house quicker. If that's the only reason, because again, and then the other person says, I don't want to pay high, or I don't want to pay a lot of interest. Now, question is, okay, now if ever you pay that faster, do you understand the inflation that actually reduces the value of your money? That if ever you have the money, but it is not put against a growing asset, because of those are the things. In 5 years' time, you're going to have the money to yourself. Then what are you going to do with that money? Do you get my point?
Okay.
So it's the reasoning behind. It's not the popular notion that actually should make everyone feel, I need to pay my house. Why? That's my question.
Sure.
How much do you need at the end of the month that in order for you to actually do the things you need to do as a person, as a family, and all of those things? And will your paying more on that house now make that situation better or less? Because of you have to also look at your cash flow. How much cash flow do I have?
Yeah.
So it's a number of factors that you have to actually consider before you can say this is the best option.
Sure.
You know, not everybody who has a paid up house has taken actually did a smart move.
Sure.
Because for some, that's it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a fear? It's a fear of banks.
It's the fear of debt for most people. And also, I don't want to say, some people only know that only know that option. They don't know other options. And they don't know how to leverage the access they have to cash.
But would you say debt is a bad thing, or there's a different
Debt.
Yeah.
No, that is both good and bad. It depends on, firstly, what you know about debt. And it depends on what you take debt for. Now, if you take debt for, I don't want to use big words now because of us. I almost said for self-aggrandizement. But if you actually, if you want to take debt for pleasure, you are probably making the wrong decision. But if you take debt to take opportunities that will actually give you returns financially, then that's good debt.
Okay.
Because it enables you, because remember, debt enables you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do with the access you have to your money now. So that's why people who are employed, they actually can go and get a bond to get a house because they don't have enough money to buy that cash. So it enables them. They need the house, but they don't have enough money. But when we look at what they are earning, over 20 years, they do have that money. But they don't have it now.
Oh, okay.
So that enables you.
To get that, to access that money now.
Correct. That's when we talk about leverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So can low earners still invest in property?
Yeah. Listen. Also, you would have heard me say this a number of times. It's not about how much you make, but it's about what you do with how much you make. There are people who are earning way less. Coach one time talked about teachers that actually invested in properties.
Okay.
Yeah, because of they found a way, because of if you can manage your money and you know how to grow your credit score, you don't have to actually earn $1 million a month in order for you to actually create wealth.
Okay.
You could be earning 10,000. Oh, I don't know what low is now, but you could be earning like 10,000,
8,000.
and you could start there.
Okay.
Because remember, again, investment is a discipline.
Sure.
Being able to invest and see investments grow,
Sure.
it's about who you are more than it's actually about what you are doing.
Yeah.
In terms, because a lot of people want to be seen as investors or known as investors, but they don't have that discipline. They don't have the understanding, because of it's crucial for anyone who wants to be seen in the investment space to understand that it's about who you are, which means you have to educate yourself.
Sure.
It's not just about the hype that, oh, everybody's buying Bitcoin now. I'm also going to buy Bitcoin so that I can be seen. No, what do you understand about Bitcoin?
Nothing.
Do you get my point? So if you don't, and that's why Warren Buffett always advises people, invest in the stuff you understand.
Okay.
If you know how this thing makes money, you can invest in that. If you don't understand it, it's going to give you a headache.
Okay.
Because you won't know when it's doing well and why it's doing well.
Yeah.
The bank gives you the ability to acquire things you can't. Now, there's a few things that we must look at there. One, you are getting the cheapest kind of debt. That's the first thing. I'm going to overemphasize that. You're getting the cheapest kind of debt
What do
you can
you mean
get.
by that?
Cheapest kind of debt. Remember, I said that the risk that's attached to a bond, is less than to a personal loan, right?
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Okay.
You have access to the cheapest kind of debt. Number two, it enables you to buy an asset that appreciates in value.
Sure.
Now, it actually means it enables you to start a business.
Sure.
Have you seen how many people are trying to start a business and they can't get funding? It's because of most of the time, businesses, I've said this before, banks favor payslips over annual financial statements. That means people who are running businesses, they struggle with getting funding at times because of the space they're in. Businesses are riskier than employees.
Okay.
Because an employee is almost guaranteed that they're going to work until pension.
Sure.
Whilst businesses, they provide information that's based on historic data. So it's how well they've done in the past, but it's not a guarantee that they will still do the same in the next year. COVID actually proved a lot of people in that. So you've got a cheapest debt that enables you to get into business as an employee. You buy an asset that appreciates in value, and then as you pay it, it actually also affords you another opportunity to go and ask the bank to give you more money when the value of that asset grows and when the liability is going down. Now that means it actually gives you access to something that you did not have and you wouldn't have had it been based on your salary alone.
Sure.
Because if you have a salary, you get a missed opportunity when you don't go to the bank and say, bank, I want to invest in that asset and I don't have the money. But if you give me this money now, in 20 years' time, I would actually have paid you off on that, and I would actually own the value of that asset.
Sure.
Do you get my point? So then it makes then that debt, when you look at it now, not from a point of I'm bound. No, it's not just being bound that you actually look at. You look at what am I gaining by me having being given this opportunity that I would have not gotten had I actually just looked at what I really am making each month. So that speaks to the fact that firstly, we have to look at two things as well. Active income is very important to make passive income.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are looking at, I want just passive income. Yeah, well, you can only get to passive once you've actually started with active.
Sure.
And rightly handled active.
Okay.
Because you have to rightly handle active in order for you to have access to passive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can the bank loan you? Let's say you want to buy 2 properties. Can the bank loan you money for those 2 properties?
They can loan you money for 10 properties.
Shucks.
It depends on your affordability.
Okay.
Because affordability is what matters to the bank.
Affordability being the active income that is
That yes,
able
that you
to
are
pay.
having. Also looking at what your commitments are. Commitments are the other demands you have. If you have a car, you have whatever other things you are paying. What gets left?
Sure.
Then the bank is going to look at that and say, okay, fine. You want 500,000 worth of a house, and you actually have up to 60,000 that's available after we've taken everything that you have. Probably going to be paying plus minus 5,000 if we're looking at that 500,000. 5 point something, then they say, we can give you 5, we can give you 6 because of you can afford that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know today, and let's say you didn't have anything,
Yeah.
how would you start your property investment journey?
If I didn't have anything but I had a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had a job and you had your knowledge that you have right now.
Oh man, listen, if I had to start from scratch now and I didn't have anything but I had what I know and the money that I can make from the job.
Sure.
Yeah, I would approach the bank. Literally, I would start there, and I would start with property for sure. I would probably, because I have more understanding of different types of properties you can actually invest in now.
Okay.
Probably my portfolio would look a little bit different right now, because of right now I'm going into the more positive cash flow ones. I've done the long-term ones at first, which is always a great, I suggest it's actually a great strategy, because you have to start there, because if you start with the other ones, by the time you want to go to the long-term, which is your capital appreciation ones, the bank might say you are overly committed.
Can you go a little bit deeper into the types of...
So yeah, the types of investments, it's mostly when it comes to property. Yeah, these two are always misunderstood, because a lot of people are always focusing on the fact that, yeah, you must make money from the first day. You are going to make money, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be making money that renders you profitable.
Okay.
What that means is, if you, for example, buy a house now, and your intent is to actually get an extra 5,000 rand a month, right? You then are going to go and buy a house that's probably been pre-owned by someone, or it's being sold by someone who's willing to sell it at a lesser value or at a lesser cost than the value, because of either they couldn't afford anymore, or you've got in an auction, or whatever the case is, right? Because of you hardly get those. If you're going to go and buy from a developer, because the developer is going to sell you a house that's going to be at market value now, most of the time. Right?
Okay.
There are people then who tell you about other negotiations. I'm just giving you the scenarios now.
Sure.
Let's just say you go and you buy a property that has been pre-owned. It's sold at a less value than what, or you buy a house, you actually add certain parts to it. You build another room or whatever the case is, then it's worth more.
Okay.
Then you actually get to be cash flow positive there, because of your bond will be covered by the rent that those people will actually, because of you will actually have increase the value of that property by adding either a room or 2.
Okay.
So it'll be worth more than what the bank had valued it at when they were giving you the money.
Sure.
Because it was less than what it is now, right?
Okay.
That's the first one. So you can be cash flow positive there.
Sure.
Now, there are a few things there as well. Your taxes are going to be your challenge there, because of when you make more than what you are actually getting to spend, you get taxed from the first 1 rand more. I would say actually from the first 1 cent. We no longer have cents in South Africa. So from the first 1 rand that you're making as profit in that rental property. All right. So you must watch. There's a lady actually who commented on one of the YouTube videos, and she was saying she bought her house cash that she's renting out. She said she wishes she could sell it because SARS is no child's play. So you must understand that. And that's something that people don't understand. That as much as you might be saying, I don't want to pay interest, from the other side, then if you're not paying interest, you are paying taxes.
Okay.
At least on the interest side, I can still build more value on my property because of that interest expense I'm paying. I can deduct it against taxes.
Sure.
But then on this side, the taxes I'm paying, I'm never going to recover. Right?
Okay.
So that's very key. So you must know which game you choose to play.
Sure.
Then if you go to the other side, which is a long-term goal, which is capital appreciation, right? So if you choose to go with capital appreciation, that means if I bought the property, I bought it at market value now. Maybe I bought it from a developer, which is what I do most of the time. Now, there I'm likely to get rental income that's not going to cover fully the bond. I'm going to have to chip in by paying a little bit maybe for rates and taxes, and then maybe paying for levies, because it's my property at the end of the day. Now, what happens there is these amounts that I'm putting in, I'm going to reduce my taxes with them because I'm at a loss. I'm making a loss. SARS won't be taking money from me. Now, my growth is the value of the property because of property grows over time.
Sure.
Now, that growth in that property value is not taxable because it is not profit that can be counted. This is the same as when you are investing in shares. Now,
Sure.
I'm just widening the net for you guys here. When you invest in shares, if you do not sell those shares, you will not be taxed, even though they're growing. So they might grow in value. But if you go and you take, so this is what Elon Musk is doing. Elon Musk is not getting paid a salary by his company. He actually gets paid in shares, options, share options, right? Which is a type of share. Now, what he does is to go to the bank and he says to the bank, I want you to give me debt against these share options I have, which is the same concept that's used in property.
Wait.
Yes, I'm taking you guys now up, up a notch,
You want to get debt against the shares.
Yes.
So is the amount equivalent to? I mean, is the debt that he's taking equivalent to the shares value?
Nah, it wouldn't be. But
It's
what
more-
he does,
Okay.
his shares are probably, I mean, he's worth, I don't know, is hit $1 trillion recently, but he's actually in dollars. No, he goes and takes debt for what he needs to do. So he's probably not going to take even half of what he actually has as shares.
Sure.
So same thing. When you go to get debt in the bank, if it's for a house, you don't have to get the full bond amount for the full house, for the full house value. You actually can get whatever the difference is between the deposit you want to put in and the value of the house that you actually are buying. Does that make sense? So if a house is worth $1 million rent, then I have 200,000 in my pocket. I can pay that 200,000 and go to the bank and ask them for 800,000. Do you get my point?
Okay.
Yeah. So I will take that for what I need.
Sure.
Not necessarily for the full value.
amount, okay.
Yeah. It's actually based on whatever I need to actually do at that point. So the long-term investment, it actually gives you growth that does not expose you to taxes.
Okay.
It grows over time.
Okay.
That's what you actually, then it actually gives you this this access to reducing your taxes if you're actually renting it out. So that's business that you're doing. That's running at a loss.
Why do we think as black people that the banks will say no?
We'll need to get the banks people. Okay, I'll tell you just to entertain you just a bit on that. Yeah, it's historic for sure. One of the things I've got proof of this one. So one of the things that has happened with the banks, they've been set up during the old era. You guys were not even born at the time. So back then, being black was a disadvantage, and it actually just carried through even after we had our freedom and all of those things. Systematically, some things are still there. Even today, if you're a black person and you go and you ask for the same, you could actually be earning the same amount as someone who's non-black, and you could be staying in the same area with that person, but you could actually get a higher interest rate attached to your kind of bond than the other person by virtue of. But we don't have the time. It takes a lot. There were cases that were actually raised against banks at some point, where people could actually see that there were these differences.
But I'm asking on the instance that the bank will say yes.
Yeah.
Why do we still think that they will say no?
It's the fear of the past. It depends again. If you're not well educated on something, fear is going to govern how you're going to behave. Yeah.
Okay, for the money that I charge my tenants, is it possible for it to pay up the monthly installments for the money that I took from the bank?
Yeah. So remember, because of your ability to recover or to get the money you're paying to the bank from your tenants is based on the value of the house that you own, that you are renting out, and how much you paid for it. Because property agents, most of the time, when they're going to charge rent on any property that they're going to lease out, they normally use a 1% rule on the bond. So if you have a house that's worth $1 million, your rental is likely to be plus minus 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then if ever you are actually, then you bought a house, as I've said, at a price that's lesser than the market value. So those people could actually be paying, your house could be worth $1 million, let's just say. That's what it's worth market value wise. But then you buy it for 800,000 because it was at an auction or whatever the case is.
Sure.
Now you paying 8,000 rands to the bank, your tenant is paying 10,000 rands. Now you covering your bond, and then you could actually also pay, if ever you're in a complex, you can pay levies, rates, and taxes. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your strategy to build your property portfolio?
It's different. So, but it's mainly, I started off by buying to get a capital appreciation, get my properties to grow, refinance, go and get another one. Refinance, go and get another one. But or I go and, if ever there are a few that are bought to rent out directly, then the others I've stayed in. Then after a few years, we would rent them out, go and buy another one. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mandilakhe, thank you so much.
Most welcome, gentlemen.
Yebo.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.